Greetings to everyone who has tuned in. I really appreciate it. But let's get right to it. Bruce Lee has already told us exactly how he delivers his power, his awesome power, to his punches. And that's what we're going to do in this presentation. We're going to break down, we're going to talk about, and we're going to show exactly how that is done. But first, I just want to say some things about the Bruce Lee phenomenon. And it's amazing how long people have thought about him. Sadly, it's been 52 plus years since he's left us, but that hunger level stays constant. This is a unique phenomenon in our history, and I'm a part of it, and I know you are also. And it satisfies tremendously our desire to know more and more about Bruce's life and history and styles and secrets and so on. But it has also spawned some questionable photos and videos. Digital manipulation goes a long way, and artificial intelligence is creating now what he might have imagined, they imagined he would have said, what they're recreating his life, and even showing him at 85 years old as to what he would be doing now. And I just find this a little bit creepy to me. And I also think of it as not very realistic and not from the source. And that's what's going to be great about this presentation. Talking about power and punching is going to be all about exactly what he said. And I'll talk about the source for all of that information with you. Having already expressed myself on AI and its attempt at recreating, reimagining, thinking about reality, what I would like to talk about, and I find most instructive and most interesting, are the direct words that came out of the dragon's mouth in a letter to his friend Fred Sato in May of 1966. This letter really jumped out to me. It was something that I read over and over and over again, because to me, it was the essence of Bruce Lee. It was a direct expression of what was useful. In this letter, he speaks about the similarities between a judo throw and a gung fu punch as it relates directly to the coordination of arm and body force. So what I'd like to do is read to you directly from his letter in a book edited by John Little and published by Tuttle Publishing. Bruce goes on to say, "It is most interesting to work on the coordination of arm and body, for that will make a judoka able to exert twice, perhaps triple, his power, and a gung fu man to strike his body weight. Using arm force alone is indeed characteristic of the untrained person. In fact, a lot of instructors are practitioners of that. And since striking is mainly used in gung fu, I'll discuss the relationship of arm power and body power, that is waist or hip movement, in a punch. I'm sure that there will be a similar basic source as in throwing." So what I'm going to do now is just explain my heavy bag setup, so you could see how I'm doing some power punching, kind of how I measure it, and so on and so forth, and hopefully that'll be instructive to everyone. It starts, of course, with the heavy bag, 100 pounds, and this is held up by a rig, another 20 pounds or so, and we have these weights you can see on the floor that really hold it steady downward. So the total rig is about 190 pounds or so, and it can slide on this carpet. And finally, what I'm able to do is measure the effect of a punch by lining up a ruler in a certain spot with one of the weights, and then punching the heck out of the bag and seeing how much I can move it. So let's break down the basic components of a punch. So first is the arm and wrist completely. Vertical wrist, of course. Not much more to say about that. The second component is the wrist snap at the end, at the very end. Third component is getting the waist and the hip into it. Getting the waist and using your whole body. That's the essence of this. The fourth point is releasing of your body weight into the target and not letting it go into the ground. So the real challenge is what Bruce calls the whole idea. That means putting it together with coordination and timing. I'll read again directly from his letter. The whole idea is to transfer the weight to the opponent's target area before the weight transfers to the left leg. That is also why in stepping to strike, the leading foot should not land first, as is the body weight will rest on the floor instead of being behind the striking hand. Of course, all of these are coordinated very, very fast, but the waist reverse does come a split second faster. So Bruce emphasizes three things about the whole idea. So first off, the waist reverse and shoulder come in first and fast. Secondly, the whole body acts as one coordinated unit. And finally, the leading leg has to land last, so the force is generated to the target. So here are my final thoughts about everything we've seen and talked about. First off, perfection, a highly sought after goal, comes after continued repetitions. And Bruce has famously said 10,000 repetitions is a pretty good start. Next, strength is truly enhanced by strength training, either through weight training or overcoming isometrics. Those really help with the transfer of power. Next, timing and smoothness, the coordination of all these components all together as a unit is really important. Okay, and finally, remember the clip from Enter the Dragon where Bruce is talking to his Shaolin master and being asked, what hits? And Bruce replies with, I don't hit, it hits by itself. And I've always thought that's a little bit of mumbo jumbo in a sense, but there's really a truth behind it, in that the more relaxed you are before the explosion, before the coordinated explosion of components, the better your punches are. And as I practice, I can certainly see that. If my mind is clear, my punching and my coordination is smooth. Thank you so much for tuning in.